Welcome, everyone, to our deep dive today. We're looking at something pretty interesting, a concept that's kind of quietly changing how tech businesses get built. You hear about SaaS, software as a service. Think the giants, Adobe, Salesforce, Microsoft. Huge companies, right? Massive teams, endless funding, it seems. But what if there's another way? A smaller, maybe more agile, maybe more fun way to build something profitable in tech?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where this idea of micro saws really comes into play. The micro part is key here. We're definitely not talking about building some giant complex system for huge enterprises, no. It's more about creating a piece of software that does like one specific thing, but it does that one thing incredibly well. And it's usually for a very specific group of people, a niche that's often, overlooked.
Yeah.
The idea is it solves a problem that's so annoying, so acute for this small group that they're actually quite happy, more than happy, really, to pay a subscription, maybe monthly, just to make that specific pain point disappear.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's try and make that concrete. Like an example, say you've got a web developer. They're juggling, I don't know, dozens of clients, and they have this really tedious task, like checking all the client SSL certificates manually every week, maybe. It's a pain.
Yeah. Classic example.
So instead of trying to build some massive dashboard with like 100 features that tries to do everything, they build just a tiny tool, super focused. All it does, checks those SSL certs. Maybe it pings an API, uses a serverless function, whatever, and it just sends a simple email report if something's about to expire. That's it.
That right there is microsauce. Pure and simple.
Right. And the beauty seems to be in the business model then. Like if this developer can get, a few hundred other developers to pay, say, $10 a month for that little tool, boom, they've suddenly got a profitable business, right? With recurring revenue. It almost sounds too simple.
Well, that simplicity is kind of the superpower here, isn't it? When you're laser focused on just one problem for one specific group, your overheads can be incredibly low. We're often talking about, just one person, a solo founder, or maybe a tiny team, 2 people max. They can leverage all the modern cloud stuff, maybe even low-code tools. You don't need a big engineering department.
So you skip the whole venture capital chase.
Exactly. You often don't need millions in funding to get started. You're building something much leaner. And you get feedback directly from your first few users who are usually really passionate because you're solving their specific problem. That creates the super fast loop. You iterate, you tweak, you get that product market fit dialed in much quicker than bigger companies often can.
Right, they have layers of management committee.
Yeah, precisely. So all of this together just means a much shorter path to actually making money, to profitability.
That really does paint a different picture. It feels like a world where, a single person, a solo founder, actually can compete. It suggests that really understanding a specific niche problem, well, that can be more powerful than having a giant marketing budget.
Absolutely. It shifts the dynamics. Deep niche knowledge becomes your competitive advantage.
So for someone listening, maybe they have that nagging problem themselves, or they see one in their own field. This model suggests they could actually turn that into a business that supports their life.
That's often how it starts. Solving your own itch or an itch you see in a community you're part of, it's very organic.
It feels like it requires a real shift in thinking, though,
Yeah.
away from the unicorn startup dream.
It does. It's a different mindset. Which maybe leads to an interesting question for you listening. How does this shift, from thinking big startup to maybe thinking focused microsauces, how does that redefine what we even consider a successful business today?
That's a good question to ponder. Is success just about huge valuations and massive scale? Or is it something else? Maybe it's about building something sustainable, something valuable to a specific group, something manageable. So maybe for anyone out there, with that small, maybe brilliant idea that's just been sitting there, perhaps it's time to stop thinking startup in the traditional sense and start thinking microsauces.
Yeah.
Because maybe the future of profitable business isn't always huge. Maybe sometimes it's microscopic.